Hi, everyone. This is John Philippi with Gaming and Leisure Voice. I'm here today on the leadership series with John Forelli, who is who not ours, but is the Ocean Resort CIO and Senior Vice President of IT in Atlantic City. Before we get into that, I'm going to read a little note from our sponsor, which is Core AI. Core AI is recognized as global leader in enterprise conversational AI platforms and solutions, helping enterprises automate businesses' voice and digital interactions that deliver extraordinary experiences for their customers, contact center agents, and employees worldwide. More than 2,000 companies trust Core AI's experience or optimization or XO platform and industries solutions to automate their interactions and achieve extraordinary outcomes for over 200 million users worldwide. Visit Core AI when you get a chance. Definitely take a look at that new software and that technology. Well, I can't say new. It's been around a while. Well, with all that being said, John, thank you for joining us here on Gaming and Leisure Voice. We've been looking forward to having you on the platform, especially talking about leadership, because I know I've been an admirer of yours for many years since I met you in Atlantic City. So why don't you first off tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, John, it's a pleasure to be with you today. Thanks for inviting me and thanks for those kind words. Um, I've been in the business for about 30 years, a little bit longer than 30 years. Um, Started out in Connecticut at Foxwoods and have I moved down here to open up Borgata, where I met you, I think in 2012.
Yeah.
Um, did a MGM tour of duty and back into Atlantic City in your old romping grounds, now called Ocean. I think my office here is about two doors down from where you lived in 2012 when I met you the first time. So yeah, it would be great to have you back in town when you're down the Jersey Shore.
Well, I love Jersey. I gotta admit, I do miss that. Such a nice, small, close-knit community. And also extremely hard market to be in sometimes. I know it's been a great few years, but it's a different market.
Extremely competitive. A lot of smart people, a lot of good properties and companies in here. So you got to be on your game. That is for sure.
That is the truth. So just since this is the leadership, I always like to start out with a very basic question. What do you believe makes a great leader?
So I'm going to fall back on something that one of the bosses who I valued a lot, Rick Garvin from Foxwoods, who was a great mentor and a CIO up there. He used to say all the time, he used to quote Napoleon and say, the essence of leadership is to provide hope. Um, and for me, I extend hope to really mean opportunity. Um, so for me, I think that, especially with the groups that I've led over the years, what makes a good leader is that you are providing your groups that you work for with an opportunity to grow professionally and an opportunity to do well competitively, an opportunity to learn new things. Um, I mean, when you go back to the Napoleon metaphor, that's, with all of his issues, let's say, um, he he always came back stronger than ever, and he always had followers because people sensed opportunity and vision from him. So yeah, I think I would net it out by saying opportunity and vision, bring that to the table, and uh, in almost any industry, it equates to strong leadership.
Awesome. I mean, that's a great answer, a great message too. I mean, hope is definitely something we live on. And the fact that you quoted Napoleon, it makes me happy because I admire Napoleon because, well, he was short and quite a leader, and I aspire to be just that. So, I don't want to get confined to Alba or anything, but I'll do my best. Uh, So, I don't know if I should even ask the next question, but I'm going to go there because who inspires you as a leader? I'm assuming it's more than just Napoleon, but
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I could literally go to every single person that I work for. Going back to Rick, um, of course, Bob Bogner, David Farland, Tom Balance, now Bill Callahan. Um, if I reach back to history, I'm a big Walter Isaacson fan, the author, biographer. Um, Pretty much every biography he's written, I've read. Um, and Steve Jobs, Ben Franklin, Da Vinci, those type of people. I love that entrepreneurial piece to it, but then beyond the entrepreneurialism and creativity, they're bringing to the table, uh, success and followers through leadership. If I go way back in antiquity, I would say Marcus Aurelius. I'm a Stoic fan, um, but yeah, to keep it recent, yeah, Steve Jobs. Um, that they're the type of people reading about them and the mistakes they've made and the good things they've done um, inspire me.
that's that's awesome. And it's great that you bring up things like leaders like that, because one thing I know that a lot of people may or may not equate to that. It's a lot of artists, and great leaders are usually really good artists. I find they can see
That's
around
interesting.
corners and create pictures with their minds, you
I
know.
agree. Totally agree. That's Da Vinci.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Let's get a little more personal.
Hmm.
Uh, did you actually decide to become a leader, or were you kind of was it thrust upon you? Because I know in some situations, like in sometimes they would just end up, okay, I'm a leader now and I got to figure it out. And then other times it's like I've tried really hard to get to this position. What's yours?
Yeah. I would say on that, like I view leadership as an outcome, not necessarily, something you could say, well, I'm going to be a leader.
Mhm.
Um, like I'm going to be an engineer or a programmer. Um, I think the way you find out you're a leader when people are following you, right? So it's the outcome of that. So for me, definitely circumstance. Never sat down and wrote it out. I'm sure there are some people that try that. And certainly in a managerial position, I think there's an expectation you are going to be a leader. Um, but I think it has to be evolved. I definitely didn't walk in my first day as a supervisor or manager and have that skill set. Um, so it's an outcome over time and experience and something you can't take for granted. For me, I think I have to re-earn it. I came to Ocean. I really didn't know as many people as I have in my career, and people know about you, but you really have to prove it all over again. You have to. I think you get the title, the job title, but I think you have to earn the the title of leader all over again and then re-earn it all the time. And hopefully um I have that here, but again, don't take it for granted. Um but yeah, the sum of that is I see leadership as an outcome. And if you see, hey, wait, are people following me? Okay, I'm a leader.
That's actually a great answer, because honestly, there's been times when I'm a leader and times when I'm a boss, and it is the number of people who are actually following you. I think it
Right.
goes back to your first point you made about hope. You got to provide that vision, you got to provide that hope, you got to provide that. Leaders always inspire.
Absolutely.
So what advice did you receive when you first stepped into the role?
You know, the best advice I received from somebody who I know and a lot of people in the industry know was Bob Ogner, who when I got promoted to vice president, he was the CEO who I reported to. And Bob walked into my office. He grabbed a black pen and he wrote on my whiteboard, "Delegate, but follow up." And true story, that's literally what happened the very first day I got promoted. And I guess I had a little bit of a reputation of getting my hands dirty a little too much on day-to-day activities. And so I really tried to take that advice to heart and started to see that success for not only myself, but for the company was going to be derived from really surrounding myself by good people and clearing the way for them. And that was really my new duty, not the doer, but the overseer. Um, so I have to work at it all the time, you know, not don't meddle. Um, so I quote that often. Bob Bogner probably has 7,000 quotes that everybody quotes daily. My favorite one was delegate but follow up.
That's absolutely amazing because that's the advice I try to give to everybody. But I've gotten to that point. You get to that point in IT where you have no choice but to delegate after so many years, and
Absolutely.
that's the scariest part of our positions, because you know computers so well and you know everything so well, but you haven't done it in a decade,
Yeah,
and you're like, it's like I've got to trust that you're going to do what I want you to do, and that's a tough one.
agreed.
Um, so, if you had to name a leadership style that you really try to emulate, would it be like an autocratic, bureaucratic coach? I could go through all of them, visionary, laissez-faire, all that. But what do you think is your style?
You know, I would almost say like any of them in any on a Tuesday that one of those ingredients may be higher than the others. But if I had to pick the one that I would think people would say about me, and I'm not sure they would, but if I wanted it, I would go with visionary. Um, not visionary in the sense of, well, that person's a visionary, but visionary in the sense that I like to paint an image of a vision for the team. Um, a grand set of goals to, being a tapestry of a vision and have people pull towards that goal. And that could be, a series of projects, hitting budget numbers, whatever. But I'm very goal driven and but you put goals out there, it can become competitive, which is good and bad. I, but I prefer to say vision. So I like that visionary. Where are we going? What's the path forward? So if I had to pick, I'd say visionary. But I think out of all those traits, there's probably a little dash of each on any given day of the week or month.
That's great. I think I answered relatively close to that when they asked me on it. Was something along that is like just depends on the team and what they need. Yeah, so you're exactly right. In visionary, I love that you're going to paint you need to paint the picture because that goes back to what I always think is that artist feel of
Yeah, I like that.
leadership.
Well, I mean, IT is a creative discipline. It's technical but creative, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people who are entering the industry, you have math skills and engineering skills, but you must have creative skills because it really demands both.
You're absolutely right. Matter of fact, I tell everybody we're more artists than mathematicians.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Uh, so, I mean, what do you see as your own personal secret sauce, or the thing that makes you rise to the top? I basically give away your secret so we can all copy it.
I certainly can learn from people like you and others, but I would say for me, to put it in a phrase, I would say be present but out of the way. Um, Sort of this nifty balance. It kind of goes back to delegation. Um, I I want people to know I'm here. I want people to see that to some degree I can be a pace setter. I do feel like I bring some energy to the table. Um, I want people to see me being enthusiastic. So I want that presence, but I also want to be out of the way, right? So I don't want to be looking over your shoulder. I don't want to be um, I want to be following up, but I don't want to be um, micromanaging your work. So I think over the years I've tried to work on that. And I think to some degree, if I had to boil everything down to one thing, it would be that be present but out of the way.
No, it's great advice. I think that that's a perfect secret sauce. And I struggle with that all the time because I'm always afraid somebody's tripping over me, and that's not just because I'm short. So, any advice that you might have for someone who's new to like leading a team?
So I think if you're leading a team, probably the biggest thing to champion is to find obstacles that are blocking your team and be the person that removes those obstacles. That could be financial, budget. It could be resources. It could be a non-cooperative co-department. It could be a co-worker, right? So I see part of the job as conflict resolution and obstacle removal. You're like a trash man, you got to get the blockers out of the way. So I would say for a new leader, you know, listen to the team, find out what's impeding their work and work to remove those impediments. I think that's the primary thing. And then a corollary to that, if I add just a second sort of derivative to that, um, and this is very specific to IT. I would say to try to get a seat at the strategy table in an organization as a leader in IT, um, to influence the organization and to bring your group along. Um, a lot of times, as you know, I mean, it always wasn't this way. Um, IT in some organizations traditionally didn't have a seat at the strategy table. Um, so I feel like making that a priority is a big deal to lead your team properly. But yeah, the main thing is be a obstacle remover. Find the obstacles and get rid of them.
That's excellent. Yeah, you're right. Getting that seat is key in IT. It's the only way you get ahead of things, and it helps you to remove the obstacles way
It,
ahead of
it
time.
really does. It really does.
You know,
I've been blessed in my career really to work for people who have viewed IT as a resource and have allowed us to have that seat at the table. You got to prove it, right? But I I think those two type of organizations are going to be the most successful.
perfect. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really, I learned a whole lot, and I hope our listeners did as well. So, uh, we'd love to have you on again at some other time. And it's been great talking with you.
Yeah, you too, John. Thanks so much for inviting me. Looking forward to seeing you shortly. And yeah, have a great weekend.
Thanks, John. And thank you everybody for watching this version of the Gaming and Leisure Voice, sponsored by Gaming and Leisure. And hopefully, by the time this goes out, y'all have already gone to the CIO roundtable, or now it's the GNL roundtable. I'm sorry, Jeannie, and have seen G2E and have all sorts of new fun toys to play with. Talk to you later.